Yep.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Wait. It's the Heel Heat podcast brought to you by the Sports Market Analyst. We are here. My name is Benny Thurman III. I'm with my partners in crime, Paulinho, as well as the Jets general
Yep.
manager, Jaquan Turner.
Let's go. Let's go.
We are here now with our predictions for Elimination Chamber 2021, and we got ourselves some thoughts. So, fellas, before we get started, how y'all doing?
This is a good one because it'll be our first episode that we're gonna put on over on podcast on Anchor and everywhere else that we can push it out to. So shout out to everybody hearing us out for the first time here on Anchor and whatever podcast you're on.
Jay, what's good, bro?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. This pay-per-view is going to be a headache, a nightmare, or a dream. I don't really know which one it's gonna be, but we gonna see.
Yeah, it's gonna
We
be
shall
interesting.
see.
It's gonna be interesting because like the last pay-per-view or so that we've seen was like we were like iffy, I don't know, and it came out not so bad. So it's like there is concern because like we've all heard they don't even know what to do with the title, news title yet for WrestleMania, and it's like you guys got like 2 more months. Really, there's no path. So yeah, it's interesting to see where they're gonna go with this.
I don't know. One would hope that this is just them putting like smoke out there when they actually do have a plan, kind of sort of like they do with general managers in the NFL draft, where they're just like, oh, we're good, we're doing one thing when they got something completely different planned. I would hope that that's the case, but considering the fact that we can't even get an episode of Raw or SmackDown that isn't rewritten 10 seconds before the actual thing goes on air, uh, you never know.
Yeah, and I could see that too because of the fact that you have to think about it. They're probably tired of all the leaks getting out and ruining the storylines.
Mm-hmm.
So to say that we don't know what we're doing right now or we don't know what's going on, any leak that comes out is like, do we believe it or not?
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, considering how they've gone about their business for the better part of the last, I don't know, 3 years, I don't think they play things as smart as other sports organizations where they send out false things and then it turns out they know what they're doing. Not to mention the constant reports of rewrites, talent not being happy backstage, et cetera, et cetera. It leads me to believe that they just don't know. There's no cohesion backstage. There's no continuancy. There's no nothing. And it seems like there's no one who's thinking 3 to 6 months down the line versus guys that are just trying to get through the next pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's really difficult for me to have any sort of faith in anyone because it seems like everyone's just trying to undercut the next person. Because it's not like the writers probably haven't had good ideas, but their ideas die as soon as it gets to upper management because upper management has their own ideas that are archaic in nature at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, again, it's like, the left arm's doing one thing, the right arm's doing something else, and somebody's just going to come with an axe and cut off one, and the other one is just incompetent to operate by itself. So, at this point, and again, I'm already not a fan of this pay-per-view because they've completely taken the women out of the Elimination Chamber, which was to me what really made the Elimination Chamber special the last few years. And they've also taken the tag teams out of the Elimination Chambers, and they've dedicated it strictly to the World Championship titles, which, okay, it's fine, but at the same time, you still don't know what you're doing for WrestleMania. So what the hell is your booking supposed to be for this?
Yeah,
It makes
I
no
agree.
sense.
I
It
agree.
makes no sense.
You're putting, and we agree. I think before they started the show, is the women's tag team is going to be on the pre-show, which sucks. Which is like the second time in a row already now. They're going to be on the
Not even
pre-show.
that. It goes far beyond that for me because I don't mind it being on the pre-show because, again, there have been some tag team bangers that have been on the pre-show. And they had to prove themselves that way. And that's how the Usos and New Day really, really cemented themselves as the top tag teams was on the pre-show. But the fact that there is no teams, like there's there's no tag team cohesion in the women's division that's not NXT and that doesn't get buried. Like the Riot Squad just this past week got buried after what looked like a nice run coming up where they would be contenders for the women's tag team championships and actually bring it to where there was an actual tag team, which there hasn't been since the Iconics. And they didn't even get a fair shot at everything because there weren't any women's tag teams to have them face off against. And they keep forgetting that this is a tribe, this is a 3-brand title and not a 2-brand title. Whereas like when they have nothing to do on Raw and SmackDown, they should be on NXT. Period.
Oh, that was actually funny, and it's funny you brought that up because Bailey actually did say something about that the other last night when she was in the middle of doing her little thing at the on her show. She said, "Oh, I am a former women's tag team champion, so I know how it is with you guys being on all 3 shows, knowing good and well that they're not on all 3 shows."
No, the first time they showed up to NXT twice. When they first won it the first time and last Wednesday. Like that's the only time I've ever seen Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler on NXT as champions.
Well, not even that. How many times have we seen a title on NXT? Twice with them, and I think once with Bailey and Sasha.
Yeah. And it's like these titles should be just as visible on NXT as it is on any other brand. But then again, it's not even that visible on the other brands. No. Because the only time you see them is in singles action because there actually are no women's tag teams.
No.
So it goes back to the original, it goes back to the original issue with the title. Is that 1, Vince doesn't care about tag teams, period. 2, he definitely doesn't care about women's tag teams. So there's no build, there's no cohesion, there's no construction, there's no time giving to women's tag teams. And then you get a situation where you have Natalya and Tamina. Yet another Natalya makeshift tag team. Like, how many times do we have to keep, churning this barrel for you to realize that Natalya isn't money as a tag team unless you're going to really give her what she needs, which is a female heart foundation. If you're going to give her a tag team and you're going to really try to say like, oh, we're going to respect you, give her some rookies the way you did Paige and give her an actual heart foundation and let them grow. Like, stop it with these little makeshift here and there thing. Like, no.
WWE needs a heart foundation.
They
really do.
She's a veteran. Not only is she a veteran, but she can actually, work with a lot of different talent. So have her work with younger talent. If you're going to keep bringing people up with nothing to do with them, like Chelsea, what's her name? Chelsea
Green.
Chelsea Green. Perfect candidate. I think she's Canadian. I'm not sure.
Yeah, she's coming back from her wrist injury. She broke her wrist.
Yeah, so again, and then you put her in a faction. She doesn't necessarily have to wrestle, but you can get her on TV. You can give her TV time to actually let the fan base get used to her, and those who don't know her get to know her.
It needs to be a trio. Unfortunately, to be a trio because you need somebody one that has mic skills. Because unfortunately, Natalya does not have that.
Natalya doesn't have mic skills.
No, and Chelsea, I'm not sure about her. I'm not sure about Chelsea.
That's probably going to be the hardest part with this heart foundation thing, is trying to find the right 3 women to balance it out. Again, the only other person I can think of was Lana, but that's already like kind of dragged out. And to me, that faction is a little soft. Like it's small. So, you have to probably try and find someone, because you can't do Rhea. Rhea just doesn't fit with that.
Rhea's not the faction type.
She's not, but at least to introduce her, the best thing you can do is have, I guess, no, you can't put Tamina in a heart foundation. No. You're going to have Natalya establish some kind of, because I'm not privy to all the women that are on the roster, but I'm sure that there's some women in the back that are not being used whatsoever. I'm almost positive of that.
Yeah.
So you could probably bring someone up, and then you have Rhea join the Riot Squad, at least temporarily. I wouldn't even mind if Billie Kay join the Hart Foundation because Billie Kay is still not doing anything.
Yeah, but
You have her
the thing
jumping
with
from group to
Rhea,
group to group.
if she's with Riot Squad, I'd rather see it like kind of like she's not in it, but she'll work with them. I'm saying she has a friendly.
No, that's what I mean. Like,
like
I don't think that she should join the Riot Squad per se.
Right.
I think if anyone's gonna join the Riot Squad and have like a nice little run with them first, before jumping off to the singles career, it would be Shotzi Blackheart. But Shotzi, I don't think Shotzi moves up for at least another 6 months.
I don't think she's coming up anytime soon.
No, I like Shotzi and Ember together, if anything, though. Yeah.
No, I mean, I like Shotzi and NXT, but I'm talking about, like, again, no one's thinking long-term booking. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at it maybe a year.
They never
6
do,
months
though.
to a year down the line.
They never do. Let's be honest.
I'm looking at it from that perspective of how am I going to bring Shotzi to the main roster?
I wouldn't even give them that credit because look, they brought up Rhea and she's still in the back, not doing anything.
That's what I'm saying. How long now? I'm looking at it. If it were me, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at bringing Shotzi up as a part of the Riot Squad, and depending on where they are at that time would be how I'd introduce her.
Mm.
But that's definitely like you're going to do a good 3 months with the Riot Squad.
Yeah. All right, let's get started
because again,
with this.
You know, you asked me for my thoughts. These are my thoughts.
Yeah.
Easy. Fire her out of a tank cannon.
So let's start with what we said was going to be at the pre-show, which is the women's tag team titles. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defending against a quickly put together team of Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. Again, back to the whole conversation.
This one is a gimme. This one is a gimme. Of course, Shayna, and they need some kind of credibility for Shayna and Nia. But the problem with this match is no one can afford to take a pin right now, especially going full head into WrestleMania. So the only way I could see this happening is if this is where you get the Sasha and Bianca turning on each other so that feud can actually get jump started, because this whole frenemies thing isn't really working. Like, it was funny the first week or so, but now it's like, all right, we've been doing this for like what, 2-3 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
Stop that. Like, make your choice and, you know, give me some real heat between these two, because this whole will they, won't they, oh, we're friends, I respect you as a champion, blah, blah, blah bullshit. Like, it's no, stop. Mm-hmm. Stop. So I think either at any point, I think if this is going to be a clean win, Bianca's there to take the pin. And it's going to be due to some sort of shenanigans that involved Reginald. But if not, then it's going to be a dusty finish. But overall, I still do think that Shayna and Nia get the win on this one.
I am sitting here and I'm thinking to myself that this match has 3 possible outcomes to it. One, and by that I mean how these things are going to lead as far as stories. The only one that has a dead end to it is there just being some type of a DQ or count out. The other one is how is this tag team going to coexist when they're going forward and all that other stuff that they normally do, heading towards like something like that. Like they did that with what's his name? It was Cena and Shawn Michaels when they were going into WrestleMania as the tag champions, and Cena was the WWE champion at the same time. And the other thing is how Jay put it, where it is that this is what starts the descent, or the bit of this is what starts the heat between the two of them. Which, why do we need to have a tag team championship match for this? I hate this. I know Nia and Shayna are not losing these titles right now. It makes absolutely no sense. I'm gonna say, however, that they're going to go the DQ route, and I believe that Bianca and Sasha are going to win by disqualification. They're not going to leave with the titles. I believe they're going to win by DQ.
So you got Bianca and Sasha?
Yeah, I just don't have them winning the titles. I got Bianca and Sasha, but I got it like that because you have your champion who's been on a roll. She needs the actual momentum going into WrestleMania. And then you have your Royal Rumble winner who also can't lose.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bianca and Sasha are going to win as well, but I see it as a DQ. I see it as Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez getting involved somehow, some way. Because if you remember Wednesday night when they showed up at the NXT, they did what we were hoping, and they had Shayna talk to Dakota Kai and bring it up the continuity, keeping continuity. It was like, I broke your arm and this and that. And then Nia talking about, hey, when Dusty was around, he said I was the biggest badass and all that stuff, whatever. So I like the way they did that. So I feel they were going to get involved in a match some way or another in order to have them lose, but by disqualification. I don't think Bianca and Sasha are going to win the titles, though. But it's going to add to the feud of Dakota Kai and Raquel versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler to make it more interesting. Yeah, there was little words of mouth. And MSK in that background with the popcorn with Beth Phoenix was hilarious.
Gold.
I couldn't keep my eyes. I had to go back to watch the reactions. It was great. So, yeah, I got it the same way as Benny. Sasha and Bianca winning by DQ. So, yeah. But I think Dakota Kai and Raquel are going to make an appearance one way or another. I'm not sure how they're going to cost them, but they're going to cost them the match. Yeah. So next match that I see coming up is the SmackDown Elimination Chamber. Jey Uso versus Kevin Owens, King Corbin, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Daniel Bryan in this match. And the winner faces Roman Reigns later that night. Benny, what are your thoughts on this one?
Okay. If I hadn't watched SmackDown yesterday, which normally I wouldn't have, but my legs were acting up and I called out of work. I would have been 1,000% on the Cesaro train, because I see this happening. I don't see this happening like this. I honestly think the WWE Championship is going to open the card up, and they're going to pull as soon as the Elimination Chamber match ends, then Roman Reigns is going to come out, and their match is going to start up right there. And I honestly think, as far as stamina goes, there's only two people that can pull that off if they're going to do an actual match, and that's Cesaro and Daniel Bryan. Corbin's not coming out of this. Jey Uso, if he wins, the only way that they're gonna do this is, Jey, you got to lay down. And why? Again, Kevin Owens, this will be the fourth time in the last 3 months that he's had a championship match. So honestly, I'm looking at it and I'm just like, and Sami Zayn there's no way he's coming out as champion and as winning this match at all. I think I might be missing somebody.
No, that's it.
It's you not everybody important.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you got everybody. I mean, here's the thing. I didn't watch SmackDown, but did they do the order of who's coming out of the chambers, or they're going to keep it random?
No, they had a 6-man tag match, and Daniel Bryan was the one that got the pin after no one wanted to tag Kevin Owens in.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically,
they don't trust him because he turns on his friends.
Yeah, all the time. It's the same. It's the same story they always tell when it comes to Kevin Owens. But Kevin Owens was out there putting in work. He was out there putting in work. He was stunning everybody on the outside of the ring.
One thing I will say though that I loved is that they had Edge go to each and every competitor to try and sell the fact that we don't know who's gonna come out as champion. It's like, you know.
I mean, the one good thing about that though is the fact that Edge is doing what a legend should be doing, and that is going out there and actually putting the talent over that's actually out there every day. But I'm gonna have to go.
He seems to be the one guy that gets it.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go with Cesaro. I'm worried about it, but I'm gonna have to go with Cesaro. I got a feeling they're gonna do Kevin Owens again, but I'm going with Cesaro on this one.
Okay.
This one is really tough because, again, it's not like Roman Reigns is in the match. It's literally whoever wins fights Roman Reigns later that night. But just based off the rub he's been getting the last couple of weeks, I'm going to agree with Benny and go with Cesaro. Just because they put too much into this and too much hype into Cesaro, giving him a new shirt, giving him the promo with Paul Heyman on Talking Smack, having DB put him over multiple times. Like, they've not done that for anybody else in this match. Like the heels have almost got no type of rub, no type of burn, no nothing outside of what Edge did yesterday. So just based on how WWE usually books, I'm gonna say that they're gonna choose Cesaro, and because I know Cesaro's new contract is just him putting over talent and putting over storylines, it's gonna be a surprisingly good interaction between Cesaro and Roman. But obviously, Roman's obviously gonna go over. But I think this is one of those that they're gonna let Cesaro just wrestle and let him be good at what he's good at, and almost kind of solidify him as a main event player, but not really. Like they're gonna give the fans what they want, the same way they did with Kofi. That's who is in there, Kofi. No,
that's the other one.
No. That's the other one. That's the other one.
Getting mixed up.
All right.
But they're not gonna give him enough to be like, oh, he's a legitimate threat.
So, all right. So you got Cesaro. I too will go with Cesaro as well for the same reasons. But here's the thing: I wouldn't put it past him to like give us a swerve and give us Daniel Bryan. Because like again, what Benny
I don't really see that as a swerve though.
Because like I said, like you guys were saying, like they put so much emphasis on Cesaro, so it's like everything else. Like okay, so it's either going to be Kevin Owens, which I love Kevin Owens. He's one of my favorite wrestlers right now. But again, it's like how many times are we going to get that match between him and Roman? Like let's go. So the only thing I can see is Daniel Bryan being in there. You know,
and it was rumored that Daniel Bryan was supposed to be the match at Royal Rumble. So it wouldn't surprise that. I don't think that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a swerve as much as it's like, okay, it's this guy or this guy.
The reason why I call it a swerve is because, like I was saying, is like they put so much emphasis on Cesaro, so they want like spotlight on Cesaro. So it's like, we kind of like put a little okie doke on you. We let you think it was Cesaro because we focus on Cesaro, but it was actually Daniel Bryan. It's a little swerve, not a big one, but a little one. You know what I'm saying? So that's my. If I had a second pick, that would have been my pick. But I'm going with Cesaro because the way I look at the match of Cesaro and Roman Reigns match, it would be a banger. I think it would be a banger. If you let those two go, it would be a banger.
Yeah. The only thing that's making me detract away from the Cesaro pick, or the only thing that would make me think to, is the Seth Rollins factor, because the two of them seem to be starting a beef.
Right. You're right. Like he may, I'm looking at it like Cesaro may not even make it to Elimination Chamber.
I don't know. We'll have to see because Seth tends to be a little sneaky deaky. So he could.
Like Seth may be in a situation where he may attack Cesaro right before the match and then take his spot.
I see that's the one thing, because and this is going to play into the other one. I don't think they're going to pull that off twice.
No. I think what I think is going to happen is if Seth gets involved in order to further the feud, he's going to cost Cesaro the match.
Yeah, right there. I think if Cesaro comes out with the win, I got a feeling that not just Jey Uso being out there, but Seth Rollins being lurking around and not having anything to do on Sunday is going to be what costs Cesaro the championship.
I think what's going to happen is, like, we're both kind of on the same page. Rollins will be out there. He's actually going to cost him the match because you got Jey and Paul Heyman out there to distract the ref. And Rollins comes out, curb stomps Cesaro. Maybe he catches Roman with something, one of his moves, and he's down and he's about to pin him. He gets him, but then he's about to get up, and then I don't know where comes Rollins to curb stomp and puts him out. And next thing you know, it's like Roman gets up and just like puts him in the guillotine, and like the ref is like, "Oh, he's out. Okay, match over." You know, so that's the way I see it.
I could definitely see any one of those scenarios happening. My only thing is because now both Seth and Roman are both heel, it's like, does this set up something post-Mania? Because I get it. Most people want to believe that Edge has a shot to come out of this as champion because he never lost his title, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. If this was Drew, then there would be some validity to it. They're not going to do that with Roman. They're 100% not going to do that with Roman.
So pretty much it's also
post-Mania, that would be very interesting.
Yeah. So let's go right ahead. Pretty much we all have Cesaro winning, and we probably will just go ahead and end it off and just say Roman's going to win that match.
Roman,
too.
Yeah.
So just get that one out the way because of the fact that we pretty much already went over it. It's like there's gonna be some shenanigans, and he's not gonna. He's gonna retain it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get that one out the way. But I agree. I think there may be something going on down the line because I've been hearing stuff as well as you guys. But I don't think it's gonna be any kind of Shield reunion. I think it's gonna be like one of those where like I respect you and you respect me. I got you. You know, but let's see what happens on the card for WrestleMania because remember it's a 2-nighter, so they might have it where they might play it off as Cesaro or Rollins has his match his first night and Roman has a second night, kind of like try to play it off. But of course, because they're still there, it may happen.
I don't think it's any sort of reunion. I think this is leading to a feud.
You think so? I'm not saying. I'm not saying reunion. I'm just saying like, hey, I respect you, boo. They're still separated, but they're not gonna get together. But just like
But that's what I'm saying because I think it's less about heel being heel and it's more about character choices. Because you can't have a Messiah and then have a tribal chief. Like you can't have two and expect them not to clash.
I hear what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Like
I hear you too.
Eventually, like right now, Seth is in the whole like, oh no, I respect Roman. He's hitting on all cylinders. He has this whole like, oh yeah, no, I respect him. But let them give Seth another faction and let them grow Roman's faction. At some point, it's a collision course at this point. It's just a matter of when for me, not if.
Yeah, and the thing
it's
is,
a matter of when.
It's at that point becomes which faction is going to stay alive, which I've always said.
Yeah.
The storyline with Roman Reigns and the Tribal Chief faction storyline, it can work, but you have to be very careful with the storylines you put in it. Like right now, we've had kind of a stalemate on it, and it sucks. So let's see where it goes, continuing into the summer. There's about to be almost a year with this storyline, and like it has potential to be great, but they need to be careful on how they do things and do it right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like with Jimmy and Jay, what are they going to do there? We've spoken that in the last show.
Specifically, Jimmy. You can already see what they're doing with Jay. They're making Jay a little bitch.
Yeah, and if you guys want to check out the last episode that we had, go to our YouTube channel, The Sports Watch Analyst, and you'll see it there. We previously known as a 3 count, so just check it out. We talked about all that there. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do with that and how they carry it on, because at this point, if they clash, one storyline is going to end. I'm sorry to say. You can't have the Messiah and the Tribal Chief go at it and one of them lose and then keep them strong. One's gonna get hurt.
There's no keeping them strong. The only way I can honestly see it being a situation where both teams come out strong is if you add a third element to it. And the only combustible elements that I see coming down the pipeline, and I'm not even saying right now, but coming down the pipeline, is if Finn somehow reunites the club and comes back to the main roster, or they give a faction to Karrion Kross. Those are the only two.
Wait, is Aleister Black on the SmackDown roster?
Or he's Raw?
He's on the Raw roster.
He's on Raw. Okay. All right, that takes him out.
So I was trying to say that's a no-go.
I'm wrong. Aleister Black is on SmackDown because before he disappeared, he was feuding with Owens.
Okay. Yeah, so I could see that as something, because remember he did have a small feud with Seth that never ended. So we can try and see what happens there. He's got to come back with an impact. He can't just job her out anywhere.
He's not coming back, fam. Like I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but literally every report I see is that Vince McMahon doesn't like him, doesn't know what to do with him, doesn't know how to book him. So unless Vince McMahon hands over the reins to Triple H, say bye-bye to Aleister Black until his contract runs out.
He'll probably go to NXT.
Even if he goes right now, Andrade's trying to go back to NXT. There's too many people trying to go back to NXT. They're not going to let these guys keep going back, especially Aleister Black when he's already asked for it. And then his wife, if the rumors are true, Aleister Black ain't going nowhere. Aleister Black is going to stay in catering for God knows how long for penance for what his wife's about to do. If the rumors are true,
I think it is. I've heard that they've been leaking stuff, like they've been hitting like subliminal messages already about it. So and I think it's a way to get the.
He's done. He's done because Vince is petty. He's done.
Yeah.
He's done.
Petty Vince.
Forget about him. Forget about him. Sorry guys. Forget about him.
Continuing back to the card. So let's go with the U.S. title. Bobby Lashley defends against Keith Lee and Matt Riddle. This is an interesting match that I don't know why they put Keith Lee in this
here's
one.
the thing. No, I know exactly why they did it. Here's the thing.
Only storyline wise.
You need Bobby Lashley to lose the title without losing the title. And the only way to do this before WrestleMania is a triple threat or a fatal four-way. Because you have to realize the reason they don't know what they're going to do at WrestleMania, but the only obvious choice coming out of this is some sort of multi-man feud or the rematch of Bobby Lashley. Like those are the only two that make sense. Now, mind you, Lashley's also been teasing trying to get Keith Lee to join the Hurt Business, which has been going on for some months now. The only way I could see this going is if Matt Riddle or Keith Lee, I don't know who it's going to be, but I could definitely see one of those guys walking out with it. My guess right now would probably be Riddle because he's just been in the feud longer. And if they're going to turn Keith Lee, which I don't think they are, but if they were to do it, the best way to do it would be to have Keith Lee win the U.S. title at Mania to give Keith Lee his WrestleMania moment, but then also have him join the Hurt Business at WrestleMania while having Bobby Lashley win the WWE title at WrestleMania. And have an Undisputed Era type of movement where all the titles go through the Hurt Business. Like that is the best way you could do that. Do I think that it would get away that clean? Not to mention, you add Keith Lee, now you can get rid of Cedric Alexander, which is probably what they've been trying to figure out how to do while keeping him strong.
That whole thing was just annoying to me because
it is annoying
because of the fact that they
the
punished him
it's
for
like
he got punished, and that's why we saw him like take so many L's because he didn't listen to one thing. I think it was Vince that he didn't listen to, something like that. So he got put to penance.
He didn't say something in a promo or something like that.
Yeah, so it's like
I don't remember what
now
it
it's like now you put him in the Hurt Business faction. You create the storyline, and you broke out that little team he had with Apollo and Ricochet. He didn't last long before they started making him act all crazy, where they're gonna like tease him, get kicked out. I'm like, so what was the point? You know, it's like now what?
So that's probably the biggest, like, I don't know about this situation, but in terms of this match right here, I think this is probably the opportune time for Lashley to lose the US title. And I say lose tentatively because I don't think he's actually going to lose. I think it's a situation where either Keith Lee or Matt Riddle are there to take the pin. I'm going to go with Riddle right now because for me, it doesn't make sense for Keith Lee to win the title when he can have the WrestleMania moment. And I don't see Matt Riddle joining the Hurt Business. So even though it would be a relatively short reign for Matt Riddle, they don't really see him, quote unquote, as a champion. They see him more as a comedy gimmick. But because he is so good and he's been so loyal and he's done everything that Vince has told him to do, I could definitely see Vince rewarding him with the US title the same way they rewarded Ricochet and then he lost it shortly after. So I'm going to go with Matt Riddle on this one just to set up what they've been teasing, which is Matt Riddle versus Keith Lee at WrestleMania for the US title.
Benny, what are your thoughts on this one?
Lashley.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Seriously, Lashley to me over the last couple of weeks, probably the last month, has been booked as a psychopathic killer, and with Keith Lee's status at the moment being so up in the air and so weird, because there's reports coming out that he's injured. There's stuff coming out talking about Vince McMahon doesn't know what to do with him and all kinds of other stuff. And I don't like what I'm hearing when it comes to him and his character. So I'm pretty much writing him off at the moment.
Right.
I'm still invested in Keith Lee and what Keith Lee can be, because like I said, all it takes is one pounce of somebody like him sitting up here pushing somebody from out of absolutely nowhere, and he knocks him into like the sun or something. Right. And Keith Lee becomes amazing again. But like I said, right now I see Lashley walking out of here still as the U.S. champion. They've made it seem as though Matt Riddle like legitimately can't do anything to Lashley. But I'm just like I don't. It's the same thing that I have with Roman. I don't see Lashley losing his title before WrestleMania. And if he loses his title, I think it's going to be in this particular situation. Whereas he's not, like Jay said, he's not actually going to drop the belt. That way you keep that incredible psychopath killer that's just unstoppable going forward to being in the WWE title picture after WrestleMania. I guess I just don't see it happening right this second.
So you got Lashley, Jay's got Riddle.
Mm-hmm.
This is a tough one because the one I'm looking at here is Keith Lee and what they're going to do with him. And it goes back to, like you said, Vince has no idea what he's doing with him. He has no idea what to do with him at all. Because like it was one of those where like you see something real nice, you're like, oh, I like that, I gotta get it. You get it, and then you're like, oh, what do I do with it?
Mm-hmm.
He has no idea what to do with it. And in Riddle, I think I agree with Jay. He's gonna be a mid-tier, and that's it. He ain't going past that. If he goes anywhere past it, he'll get a match like an Elimination Chamber or something where there's like more than one person. He's not gonna get a one-on-one, triple threat, deadly four-way, fatal four-way for the main title, but he'll probably take a pin or whatever, or just a show. In this one, I don't see Bobby losing. I see him retaining as well, but I'm trying to figure out who's taking the pin. And I hate to say this, but I think Keith Lee's there to take the pin because of the fact they don't know what to do with him. And it sucks because that's going to hurt his character, how strong he is.
I'll tell you what, though. This is the first time you guys are witnessing history. This is the first time I think we've ever looked at a pay-per-view where we've had more than two different decisions. Because usually we're all on the same page outside of one match. Mm-hmm. This is probably one of the few ones where we have more of a split decision on two or more than one match. Mm-hmm. So this is going to definitely be interesting for our standings.
Yeah. So like I said, I have Lashley winning this one because I don't see him losing right now. But it's the fact that who's taking the pin, and I think it's Keith Lee taking that pin.
I got Riddle, and I don't even think it's going to be a pin. I think this is a hurt lock situation.
Yeah, but at that point they got to take Lee out though in order for him to like. So that's gonna be the crazy part. So
I'm still sticking with my thing because again, I agree with everything that you're saying, but we also know when it comes to those monster type characters, they hulk out in a sense, and they usually are the product of their own demise. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like they'll do something and they'll be so dominant, and then 1 second, bam, they get knocked out of the match. Yep. They get lulled to sleep. They get knocked out of the match. Next thing you know, the underdog hits some kind of weird finisher. This is why I think Keith Lee's going to take the pin. And, a guy like Riddle randomly runs out with the title. And it's like, oh, okay, didn't expect the title flip. But it's like, Lashley's done all he could with the U.S. title. So it doesn't make sense. And if you want to put him in a prominent place in WrestleMania, having him lose at WrestleMania does more damage to him than it does putting over someone else. So having him lose now without actually losing and then setting him up for either a feud at WrestleMania or a title shot at WrestleMania makes more sense for what his character is right now.
The only way I see that is happening is if Keith Lee catches Bobby with Spirit Bomb.
Mm-hmm. I got the perfect into it. It's just a matter of it means that no one is going to be right in this situation.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley takes himself out trying to spear Riddle through the barricade. Riddle hops up into the ring and runs right into a Big Bang catastrophe or a Spirit Bomb.
Yeah.
So, and again, I think everyone has the whole Keith Lee like having the big move, having the big spot. But again, when you start hearing things, I don't know what to do with this guy versus this guy's a comedy character.
Right.
When you get the whole I don't know what to do with this guy, I can see Keith Lee trying to hit, say, the spirit bomb and then get hit with a V trigger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of those situations. Or, you know, Bobby Lashley trying to go after Matt Riddle and hitting Keith Lee with like a spear or something, and then Riddle comes out of nowhere, hits Bobby with a V trigger, knocks him out of the ring for like a split second, and pins Keith Lee. Like, it's one of those quick snap decisions.
That's what I'm saying.
Where
Bobby gets taken out, and
those
then
guys,
Keith Lee,
Bobby gets taken out, and then Keith Lee gets taken out by Bobby, and Matt Riddle takes advantage.
Mm-hmm. That's the only way I see Riddle winning it, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, I think Lashley's going to win, and he's going to pin Keith Lee. But let's see what happens. And then now we have the last Elimination Chamber match, which is the Raw one.
There's 2 matches.
What?
It's still up there because I think they're going to do a replacement. The Raw Women's title match is still there.
Oh, the Oscar one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw it as TBD, to be determined. Like, and when I saw it on I forgot which side it was, they took that one match off. It's not there no more. Like, I saw it as a TBD, and I don't see it there no more at all. We'll see. We don't know. That match, they might give her a match and announce it via Twitter, and it'd be on the prelim for all we know.
I mean,
it depends on who the replacement
is. They would do an open challenge. If they were
depends
smart,
on who the replacement is.
We know it ain't Lacey Evans.
I'll tell you right now that there's 3 possibilities that could come out of this right now. Jade, first of all, you're glowing, which is hilarious.
Jay Leroy.
But you got 3 possibilities to come out of it. The least impressive one is Peyton Royce, because she's technically Lacey Evans' partner. The other 2, Rhea Ripley and Charlotte.
But again,
Charlotte has already been promised. Charlotte has already been promised in kayfabe a title match. That was her condition for coming back and helping Asuka win the tag titles. And the other thing is Rhea's just not doing anything.
And that's the problem I have with like the whole Charlotte angle stuff. There's always something about she's promised this, she's promised that. I'm like, some of them might be kayfabe, some of them might be true, but still, it's like that's why I think we all have an issue, not with Charlotte Flair the person, actually, but the way Charlotte Flair the character gets treated and brought up and given everything. And it's it's come on now. She's not her dad. It's not the same. You know?
Again, I think this is the one time where that promise has the advantage of she can just come out and say, I was promised a match and I want a match. I want my title match. I want my title back. And you have the promo be her saying, like, I come to get what I'm owed. She wins the match, and then at the end of the match, when she wins, you just have Rhea walk out.
Yeah, I honestly think that's it right there.
I think that's better for Fastlane, to be honest. If you think about it,
if you do that again, you start to hot shot the title.
I would say in a situation like that,
but remember,
wait until Fastlane. I think that's a situation where you can actually flip that and make it so that it is Rhea that's the challenger. In this situation, if it's just Rhea walking out there being like, "All right, I want a title shot," that unless it's an open challenge, it's kind of ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
No, I'm saying Charlotte answered the call, not Rhea.
I know.
Right.
What I'm saying is, if we were to wait until Fastlane, that's a situation where you would have to go out there and be like, all right, we're going to build a feud between between Rhea and Asuka for them to meet at Fastlane. In this situation, because of the fact that you already have this pre-set up title match between Charlotte and Asuka, you can just be like, all right, well, Lacey's out of the picture. That means neither one of us have anything to do. Let's have a match. Like you said, you wanted to give me a title match either way. Like this.
Yeah,
that's probably the only way I would not be upset with another Charlotte title reign is because of the fact that this was set up already.
Yeah, because the thing is, you got to remember, they're trying to pat her stats to either equal or pass her father. It sucks. It sucks that you're hot shot in the title, But that's what they
again,
get. That's what they get for putting them in the tag team as it is, when they could have gotten this done before.
Also, this serves my agenda of having Rhea Ripley be the one to take the title off from Charlotte and get her win back at WrestleMania.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If you do it now and then you give her, hell, you can give her Shayna or Nia for all I care at Fastlane. You can give her Peyton Royce at Fastlane. I don't hate that. But Rhea needs to get the shot at WrestleMania to right that wrong.
No, of course. I think we're all in agreement.
Charlotte.
We're all in agreement. It's just the way it's happening. The way I see it is, if Asuka faces Charlotte tomorrow night at Elimination Chamber, Charlotte wins it. You're gonna have to build that feud, and they're gonna have to meet at Fastlane. And that's gonna be
because Fastlane is too much of a turnaround.
As I'm not saying, and that's useless.
Need for that to happen.
And that's useless because at that point, then okay, you have the match, then it has to be where they don't lose. Nobody loses. It's a DQ, so they have to have it again at Mania. To me, the better way is, you know what? They face off, like Asuka faces Peyton Royce or somebody, jobbers out and wins. And if it faces Charlotte, they get a few going for Fastlane. Charlotte wins it, and Rhea was like, "Hey, remember last year? Now I want my shot at Mania."
My only thing about if you were to do something like that is that immediately makes it have to be a triple threat, because then Asuka's just like, bro, what the hell?
Yeah,
I want my title. I had that thing.
You can have the Charlotte Asuka rematch at Fastlane.
Yeah.
It's better to put the rematch at Fastlane. And then, I mean, if you want to wait for Rhea to come out and declare herself as number one contender at Fastlane, I get that. But to wait until Fastlane for her to win the title makes no sense.
The thing is here, okay, so we're looking at two pictures here. If the Asuka Charlotte Flair happens tomorrow night, Charlotte wins it, then you're talking about having Charlotte Asuka rematch at Fastlane. Which I'm okay with, but the thing is, it's gonna be annoying because Charlotte's gonna win it again.
We know half these people are gonna win. It's every time you see Roman in the match, he's gonna win. So
of course, that's been known since
anyway.
they even said on Up Down Down. Roman always wins. I think that was Miro that said it. Rusev. But
so it's not like we don't already do this.
Yeah, it's my whole thing is like, it's trying to get in the minds of Vince and them, and that's the thing we have to remember. We have the capability of saying, oh, this is the obvious thing to do, is this best storyline here, but we have to think Vince likes to hot shot the titles a lot, and Vince likes to pad Charlotte's stats, because remember, all of a sudden when Charlotte was NXT champion, that title counts now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that's what I'm saying. I can see Charlotte with it at Fastlane,
because I don't think it counts for Finn either. It counts for Charlotte, but it doesn't count for Finn.
Does it count for Bayley and Sasha?
It might.
It should.
I know it counts towards their Grand Slam.
No, it definitely does. The only one that can truly say they have like that I wouldn't even call it a Grand Slam, because it's more than a Grand Slam, is Charlotte, because she had the Divas title.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I was gonna say, damn, how many people got that Grand Slam now?
In the women's division, if you count the Divas title, like Jay said, just Charlotte. But if you don't, it's, I think Sasha, Bayley, and Charlotte.
Charlotte has it,
and Charlotte.
Asuka has it.
No, she doesn't.
No,
yes, she does.
Technically, she doesn't, because she doesn't have the tag teams.
Asuka, she's had it twice.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, Asuka does have it. You're right. Asuka does have it.
Did she win the SmackDown?
Yeah, she won it from Becky.
No, that was the Raw.
No, she won it from Becky before the Ronda match.
Right. Because then Charlotte beat Asuka.
Yeah,
that SmackDown one. Yeah.
I forgot that one. Yep.
So
right.
yeah, it would be Asuka.
Asuka does have it. Yeah.
So that's it. It's only those 4.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, because Becky, in order for Becky to get it, she needs the tag team titles.
Yeah.
But if we're counting NXT titles, she hasn't won that one though.
Yeah, Becky's never won the NXT Women's title.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Becky's behind by 2 titles.
So when she comes back, so we stop.
She's going on the tear to NXT to warm up.
We need someone to do. We need someone to for Io to drop the title too, because apparently they're protecting her like it's nobody's business.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would.
So this Asuka match is going to be interesting if she does pull one off. I mean, like
if they do have a match, of
yeah.
course.
Like I said, like I see where you guys are coming from, and you guys, I think both you guys are saying it would be Asuka, Charlotte winning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see that. I see Asuka, Peyton Royce, or somebody else that she'll beat, kind of doing like a open challenge type thing, and it's Charlotte's at Fastlane.
Even if it is, I don't see it being Peyton Royce.
I don't know who is going to be. Whoever's going to be.
Don't remember that she's on the roster. So I mean, I don't see Peyton Royce doing nothing.
Whoever's going to be, if it's not Charlotte, Asuka's going to win pretty much. But if it's Charlotte,
I would say if it's not Charlotte or Rhea, Asuka's going to win it. If it is Rhea Ripley, Rhea is going to win that title.
I doubt it's going to be Rhea though. I think because I think Rhea is going to be more for Mania, but it's like it sucks because like you didn't even have her there jobbering big squash matches, win some squash matches at least, kind of build her up before Mania. That's what's annoying. That's why I kind of miss the old school days when like you have these new wrestlers and like squash through jobbers like crazy. You build them up, like golly, they're strong.
That was back when Vince trusted his writers.
But it doesn't take much to write somebody.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it takes much. But
somebody.
He literally has no faith in any of his writers, and that's obvious.
Well, he also remember he has no faith in a talent to go off script and do their own promos off the top of their head, even though they take promo classes at NXT.
Again, he doesn't have any faith in his product at this point.
No.
So
in order for it to run by itself, because he's the type that has to not even micro but like nano manage.
Yeah, he's a megalo. We all know that he's a megalo. Heavy.
Anyway, last match.
Last match is the Raw Elimination Chamber match, which includes the champion Drew McIntyre defending against AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Sheamus, and Kofi. This makes no sense at all.
Whatsoever.
At all, yeah.
Again, the only way I could see this making any sense is if this is a way to get the title onto Miz and off of Drew without having Drew be pinned by Miz, but he has to get pinned by somebody. That's the problem. It's not like he can lose the title without getting pinned. So, like, it's a situation where either Drew goes home with the title or something happens where Miz cashes in. Because the only way Miz would step out is if he's going to cash in. Doesn't make sense.
But this is the thing, too. If that's the case, then at some point in time, Drew has to lose the match or be eliminated. Unless he wins this match, but then at that point, how does Miz catch him? You know?
Easy. I'll tell you right now how that happens. The last person out in the chamber is going to be Sheamus.
Yeah.
Broke kick while Drew is not looking. Miz cashes in, and he tries to go for the pin, and Drew McIntyre still kicks out, Claymore's his face off, and now Miz loses the briefcase.
I mean, that to me would be the best possible outcome.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think that there's this thing now with the briefcase where it seems like the last couple of winners don't actually cash in successfully. Like, I don't remember one who's cashed in successfully since like when Baron Corbin didn't cash in. Like ever since Baron Corbin, I don't think there's been a successful cash in.
Bailey.
I mean for the men's, not for the women's. That's a different. That's I put them on different.
Lesnar, but that doesn't even count.
Right. I don't feel like that counts for anything at this point. But yeah, that's a part of my problem with it, is that I just don't believe in the Money in the Bank anymore, because they keep giving it to people that we know they're not going to build. Like, we knew they weren't going to build Otis. He just liked Otis at the time. And now look at where Otis is.
Mm-hmm.
Versus giving it to a guy like Baron Corbin, when I can actually believe Baron Corbin would cash in and be a successful champion. Like The Miz, to me, like I get it. He has a similar story to Kofi, but at the same time, it's like The Miz has just been like if this would have happened right after coming off his Intercontinental title reign, I would fully be behind Miz being world champion. But they've murdered his momentum so much and made him such a goofball to a point where it's like, if you put this on him, you just think your title's for clowns. Because Miz has not been serious since John Morrison came back.
Oh, even before that.
Damn, the last successful cash-in for the Money in the Bank was 2016 by Dean Ambrose.
Mm.
So that's what I'm
on
saying.
the men's side. On the men's side.
So it's like the Money in the Bank doesn't mean as much as it used to anymore.
Yeah. So let me tell you who's won it afterwards. You're not
putting it on people. Like you're not putting it on people that actually could do something with. Like you're not putting it on. You're putting it on people that is a fan favorite, but you know is a mid carder. Like unless you're gonna put these guys as main event guys, like that. Those are the guys that are supposed to win the Money in the Bank. Guys that are like right there.
Yeah. So
when they need a little extra.
The following year was Baron Corbin when he won it, and he failed that one. As we know, that was 2017. 2018, it was Braun, and he had that whole "I'm gonna announce it before. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna surprise you," and that was a no contest. That was a no contest one when he cashed it in Hell in a Cell.
Mm-hmm.
Then after him was Brock Lesnar, which we said doesn't count because it's freaking Brock. So,
and then this past year was Otis.
It was Otis, which we said made no sense at all because, like Jay was saying, so far it's been like hot shot and they're giving it to the guy who's hot at the moment to win the briefcase.
I mean, as far as this briefcase goes, like honestly, if they were to say put it on a guy, just for argument's sake, like if they were to put it on Riddle, eventually, because of the fact that Riddle would have been coming out of NXT, he would have been something new. Now you have a way to sit up here and actually build him to a point where he would be in a position to be on the cusp of being a main eventer whenever he decided to cash in. Whereas you throw it on Otis, a guy who's in a tag team and he's in a comedy tag team at that, like there's no building that at all. Even with this quote unquote heel turn that we had with him last night.
Here's
you're
one
not
thing.
Getting that out of him.
What if they throw in one person from NXT at the Money in the Bank match? Like you have like say a fatal 4-way or triple threat match at NXT and the winner gets in there on the Money in the Bank match. Now this winner, if the NXT person wins, now they have a chance to challenge any title, including the NXT title. Now you're bringing the briefcase anywhere on all three brands.
I wouldn't be against it, but you would have actually even take it even further than that. You got three brands. How many people are in the Money in the Bank match? It's either 6 or 8, depending on how how they feel in at any given time.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. You leave one spot for NXT.
Not even that. You take 2 from Raw, 2 from SmackDown, 2 from NXT.
You could do that too as well. Make it 6. And that makes it more interesting because now it's like a Survivor Series, but you have something that they're going for, and you can have the winner. Hey, if you get Andrade win it there, and he can go back to NXT and take the title away from Finn Balor.
On top of the fact that you have a situation where you can tempt these NXT people onto the main roster, so Vince sees how they are actually working with his main roster talent, and maybe he doesn't kill them when they come up to the main roster.
Yeah, the thing is, the Money in the Bank briefcase was always a great idea. It was like a get out of jail free card if something's messed up.
Thank you,
and Jericho. It was still a great idea. But the fact that they made it as a joke for the last few years with the failed cash-in sucks. And then they made it worse with this whole Otis thing. I'm like, we all looked at it like, wait, what? Why Otis? Doesn't make any sense. Who's he going to challenge? Who's he going to beat? Who's going to wrestle? It made no sense. So we're sitting here waiting. Okay, we're going to take it off of him. And they finally did. They put on The Miz. I like The Miz, but again, that's not somebody is going to successfully cash it in. And if he does cash it in tomorrow night, there's going to be shenanigans involved. And it's just and for what? Just to get the title off of Drew again for one match, so he could win him back again at Fastlane.
To turn around and have them so that they have Drew. This is the whole thing that all of these other people are talking about. Them possibly predicting Drew losing tomorrow, so that when WWE Network gets started up on Peacock, that they can have this big Drew McIntyre victory of him winning the championship back. But why?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Fastlane's the first event on first pay-per-view on Peacock. So again, that goes back to my whole idea of Charlotte Asuka being a good one as well too. With Rhea, like you have to look at it this way. Look at what happened when SmackDown debuted on Fox. They freaking took the belt off Kofi in 5 seconds.
Oh, that has to do with Republicans, but whatever.
You know what I mean? WWE always wants to do something like start off with a bang with a new partner real quick. So I can see that happening. Putting Drew, is Drew gonna win it back? Like, bro, it's the Miz.
I don't like it.
Miz, I like
it because it's Fastlane. If it was WrestleMania, I would be like, all right, but it's Fastlane. But that's crap.
It is. So it's just one of those like, it's like, aren't they like Money in the Bank? It is a way to get the Money in the Bank briefcase back on track, where it means something to have it.
Anyway, getting to the match though. As far as this goes, this right here is what why I brought it up earlier. Why I don't think that you're going to have a situation in the SmackDown match where you're getting a wrestler taken out, because I don't think Kofi is making it to this match.
Really?
I think he's going to get taken out by Ali before this match, and Ali is going to take his place, because that plays completely into their story of you took my spot. Although, once again, this is the stupidest thing ever, because Kofi had nothing to do with Ali getting hurt. That was Randy Orton.
And there's Jay tapping the camera. It makes too much sense.
Yeah. And I can't deal with it.
For any new listeners, what we have going on here is we've had a thing where, like, if we're making sense, we'll start tapping the camera, because remember, WWE.
Yeah, it makes sense. They don't want to
does not do the obvious stuff or make stuff that makes sense. Vince don't like that. So I mean, I like that idea, and I think the Retribution and New Day is trying to start something off right there. So that would actually work.
I mean, but that's a way to actually further whatever feud that the two of them have, because Kofi, albeit still wrestling the matches, because of the way his character is really nonchalant about this whole thing. But if Ali ends up costing him a shot to regain the title, then you have a way to further that feud where Kofi and Xavier Woods will finally get serious about this thing. And then they'll actually start a proper feud between the two of them and actually maybe make Retribution seem some kind of credible. I don't know.
Yeah. And I really want to see, I would like to see Ali in this match and see what he could do with the star power here.
It'd be nice, but exactly. I have a feeling that the first thing that's going to happen is he's going to go out there, he's going to run into the ring, catch an RKO, and that's going to be the end of him. But I still think he's going to take Kofi's spot. That being said, we can do this process of elimination. Jeff Hardy ain't winning. I love him to death, but Jeff Hardy is not winning this match. Sheamus, to me, has the absolute best chance to be the winner besides Drew. So I am 100% going with Drew McIntyre, because I've been Team McIntyre since the Royal Rumble last year. I do also think that at some point Randy Orton is going to actually burst into flames in the middle of the match, and the Fiend is going to return.
I hope so. Like that's the one part of this match I'm looking forward to more than anything else. Is I don't really care about this match, but I more so care about, is this when the Fiend returns? And are we going to get like the crazy, like, are we going to get the deer horns, the ram horns, like the skull? Like,
what kind of
demonic presence
going all out.
are we going to do here? Like, how dark are we going to go? Like True Blood dark? Are we going to go like chilling adventures of Sabrina dark? Are we gonna go like Hellstrom dark? Like, how dark are we going here?
Hey,
that's
listen.
That's literally the only thing I care about, because this match is it's a hot mess. Like, you got a bunch of former champions who half of them can't move. You have Sheamus, who, to his credit, I think, like you said, has the best chance to win this match, and he's also the most obvious choice to win and then get cashed in on.
Ugh. Although that would be
And
funny.
then
Yeah, that would be.
it would be
That would
hilarious,
be.
because you would see Sheamus like celebrating so much, and then you just hit him with a skull crushing finale, and then he cashes in, and it would be kind of what Sheamus did when he had the Money in the Bank way back
and
when.
did it to Roman. I was like, that's poetic justice.
It is poetic justice, and then it also sets up either a triple threat or fatal four-way, depending on how you want to slice it, for Mania, instead of it just being a 1v1. Because I don't think a lot of these title matches outside of Roman's is going to be a 1v1. Like, you need some kind of gimmick with it.
Yeah, I don't know where the
Unfortunately.
WWE title is going for Mania.
And that's what I'm saying. They don't know where it's going for Mania.
I would love a straight up one-on-one between the two of them, but I just don't see it happening.
No. I would love for this to be the ladder match, personally.
What, Sheamus
Because
McIntyre?
then you have Sheamus, McIntyre, Miz, Baron Corbin, and say Bobby Lashley. Like, get all the big boys in there for the title.
Almost in the match.
Read
the title from the floor.
The problem I have with that is, like, you're gonna have this, like, and that's the problem with, like, when you put like Otis and like Keith Lee, something like that. How are you gonna have those big boys going up that damn ladder?
They're not.
Ain't nobody that big in that match, though. There's no one that big in that match. That's what I'm saying. Like, these guys are big enough where they're big, but they're athletic. Like, they're not hulking like Otis or Keith Lee or Braun. Like, they're not those kind of big guys.
Oh my God.
They are
I know where they're going with the title match. He just said it.
What,
freaking Braun? Yeah.
Well, Braun's actually out with a blood disease right now, so
he's back. Oh, he's back. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
he's back because he was there on Monday complaining that he wasn't in the match.
Oh, well, I know that he said that he lost like 15 pounds because of the blood thing. Mm-hmm. He had like a blood infection or something like that.
If that's the case, I could see Braun trying to get his way in and take Randy out.
Yeah,
because he got to like not take Randy out, but the Fiend takes out Randy in like a backstage promo, and then Braun kind of throws himself in there, like, "Oh, Randy's out here, let Braun in there."
Yeah, like, again, this one is kind of tough because the good thing about this is that there's so many muddled storylines, which is what we've been asking for. The bad thing is a bunch of old people that don't nobody care about.
That's because they haven't spent any time building anybody. Everybody's title reign is the same person over and over again.
Again, and that's a part of the problem that we're having here, and that's why it's almost insufferable sometimes, especially to watch Raw. Like, Raw is difficult to watch because it's just like it's the same trope over and over and over and over.
Well, y'all saw what I said last night. Big E sitting in ringside was more entertaining than Raw.
Yeah,
already
for sure. The whole Big E storyline is way better than anything that's going on.
MSK on Wednesday was more entertaining than Raw.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I could watch MSK all day. Like,
yeah.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. But that's a part of the issue that I'm having here. That being said, I'm going to go with the safe choice, and I'm going to go with Drew. But it would not surprise me at all if Sheamus wins and then Miz cashes in on Sheamus. Or Baron Corbin wins and Miz cashes in on Baron Corbin. Like, it'll be somebody who's... Huh?
Corbin's in the other one.
Oh, see? Well, damn. I can't even keep up with the shows anymore.
It's all right. It's all right. Y'all both did it. It's okay.
Like 3 months.
You don't have the match list in front of you. It's all good. It's all good.
But, like, you know, there's nobody in this match where I can look at and be like, oh, I really think they could win the match outside of Sheamus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because even AJ, I got Drew. Okay. Even AJ, like, AJ has a shot, but, like, what is he doing? He's not doing anything.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's Elimination Chamber. Almost is not in there. He can't help.
He's not in it. So
yeah. So
unless somehow they do some kind of incredible, like, Kane in the Hell in a Cell type situation.
Oh, they
where he just rips the door open. Listen, I'd actually be good with that if they start building almost as like another Kane, not like the Dark Presence Kane, but like that kind of like immovable force, for lack of a better term.
Well, there's something I heard was that he was as bad, if not just like on the same level as the Great Khali. Like he can't do jack. That's why he's there.
I mean, he can definitely karate kick. He'd be freaking set up there and karate kick the freaking guitar, so he's got to be worth something.
Yeah, I heard he was just as bad as him, if not worse. So it's like that's why he's stuck where he's at with AJ. Kind of like,
which again is fine, but again, use him as muscle then.
Yeah, and eventually he's gonna have to break off on that and actually do something on his own. So hopefully he can turn that corner.
That might end up being like the Shawn Michaels Diesel kind of thing between them two at some point in time.
Yeah.
You know, so all right. So the way I look at this is Jeff is not winning this at all. AJ is not winning it.
No.
Kofi's not winning it.
Nope.
Brandy is not winning it either. So it comes down to so it comes down to Drew and
Brandy
Sheamus.
might not even be in the match for that long. Like you said, he might just burst into flames randomly.
Yeah, he might be like the second or third one eliminated, and then he might have a segment like on the ramp or something like that. You know?
Or Alexa shows up in the Elimination Chamber.
Oh my God, I was just about to say that the lights are gonna go on. Alexa's gonna be sitting on top of the pod.
Yep. And then you're just gonna hear her and then burst into flames in the middle of the thing, and Queen shows up in flames.
Yeah, there could be something in there. It's got to be where like everybody, like it might be end up being where like Randy gets eliminated, he gets pissed off, and he just RKO's everybody. Everybody's in the ring just laid out, and he's just walking out, and then that's when the segment happens between him and the Fiend and the walkway. Because at that point you can cut away from the ring action because they're all laid out,
and you can do your edit there.
Yeah,
you edit that into the middle of it.
Exactly. So I don't think Randy's gonna make it to the end. It, like I said, it comes down to Sheamus and Drew. And it comes down to if I will agree with Benny and say that Miz cashes in on this, which I believe he will. And the question now becomes, does he win the cash in?
No.
And it's difficult to say because it's like, do you let him win it? Or do you keep
it depends on who wins the match.
Well,
it depends on who wins the match.
Here's the thing: if Drew wins it, you can have Sheamus give him the bro kick, being pissed off because he lost, leaves him laying on the mat. In comes the Miz. Drew's getting up like all foggy, gives him a skull crushing finale, covers him for the pin, and he wins it.
I legit still think that if Sheamus was to do that and the Miz ran out and tried to cash in, Drew's still kicking out.
You think so?
I legit still think
you have to look at it from a situation that there's also the John Morrison factor, where he can definitely hit him with the Starship first, and then he gets hit with the Skull Crusher finale after getting hit with a bro kick.
You know why? And this goes back to even thinking that WWE has any kind of sense of continuity. Drew kicked out of 3 spears and a jackhammer just last month.
I know.
Yeah.
Which is annoying.
On top of the fact that if you go by Drew's character ever since he won the title, he's also kicked out of multiple F5s. I'm not sitting up here even thinking for the slightest bit of a second that a skull-crushing finale is taking him out.
I hear you, but that we're asking and we're looking at Vince continuing with the continuity here. And that's a lot to ask from that old man. So I'm gonna go on a limb, and I'm gonna say that the Miz wins this one because it's cash in.
But I think
so you're going for Drew winning the match and then Miz winning afterwards?
Yeah.
All right.
So we pretty much all got Drew, but I'm adding into there.
So we all got Drew. It's just a matter of the cash in afterwards.
If the cash in is successful, is that a bonus point situation?
I'd give it to him. I just don't think it's happening.
I don't know. How do you guys want to play that one? I mean, because that's like an additional to the match. So it's like, do you guys want to put a bonus point if that happens?
I mean, you could do that, but then you also kind of got to give a bonus point if Alexa shows up with the Fiend too, because that's also That's one of those where
I think we
will
will
they,
all get a
won't
bonus
they?
point for that, though. I mean, I think we're all calling that one out in some one way
We
or
also
another.
all call it the cash in.
Yeah,
We just
so
said on whom.
that's what I'm saying, though.
It's a matter
We're
whom.
talking about on the winner of matches, though. You know, because at that point, then you have to give Benny a half a point at least for saying that what's his name is cashing in.
I was say he's
also,
cashing in. I just don't think he's gonna win.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You say he's
lose.
cashing in. You know, was there half a point for a cash in and another full point for winning on the cash in?
Because the whole thing is like with the briefcase right now, there are two options when it comes to Miz. All right, either he can cash in and lose the briefcase, or at some point he's gonna let this thing expire, and
Which
then you
would
just
probably be
literally
almost
wasted an entire
worse.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to see when is that
What is
scheduled for?
what is Money in the Bank? That's May.
May or June.
To be announced yet. It's been May for the last 2 years.
All right, so we're just basically saying May. Right?
Yeah,
he has a year. It's February right now, so he's got 3 months to do this. It either happens at Elimination Chamber, it happens at Fastlane, or it happens at Mania. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's not happening at Mania. You can eliminate that possibility right then and there. The only other two options are going to be Fastlane and Elimination Chamber. If he does it after this, like I said, he's catching a Claymore.
Yeah.
Then again, if he catches it at any pay-per-view, he's catching a Claymore.
Yeah, because the only thing they have so far in regards to pay-per-views like scheduled is Elimination Chamber, which is tomorrow, Fastlane in March, the 2-day event for WrestleMania in April, and June 20th is Takeover Dublin. Mm-hmm. That's it for the year so far. So what's happening in May and June and July for WWE, we don't know yet. So we don't know when that's going to be. So again, it's like, how much longer are you going to play the briefcase? You know, you might well just get it over now and here, then have it like lingering in there. Like, when is he going to do it?
Although what I would say would actually be some type of a decent storyline to give the Miz, just for argument's sake. He's been holding on to this thing for all of this time or whatever, and somebody, just say Adam Pearce, because Adam Pearce seems to be just like the omniscient authority person in the WWE. Mm-hmm. We have him remind Miz, like, listen, you have until May to cash this thing in. And then now all of a sudden Miz is starting to panic because the date is getting closer and closer or whatever, and he still hasn't done it. And then it's coming to a fact where now he's like really trying to locate it or trying to figure out exactly when and how to cash in on this thing. And now, like I said, just frantic Miz trying to run around trying to figure out how to do stuff. That would probably be something decent for him to do, aside from just
what I actually love, and this is out of left field. I'd love for Miz to cash in on Finn Balor.
I was thinking that too, but you got to remember they
never
said.
I know.
Yeah,
that would be the biggest insult.
It would be, but then also it would almost it would give you that kind of vigor.
That's what I'm saying.
That would come from NXT.
That's what I'm saying.
From the NXT stars, and it would give you some absolute bangers, because I'm not gonna lie, I'd love to see Tommaso Ciampa back in the title picture, and Miz would be exactly the type of, like, that would be the type of FU to NXT to bring Johnny back into the title picture. That would bring out a different level of hatred from Adam Cole. Mm-hmm. Like, the fact that there's so many buzzers around that title right now, like, Miz would get absolutely destroyed. The problem is how long do you have him hold the title at that point?
And we'll see. Here's the thing: I trust Trips with that storyline and how he would write it out. So
right,
I'm okay with it.
Like,
and
again, the
question, like you said, how long
I've seen Trips have is the Charlotte and Rhea thing. Like, that's the only real knock I have on it.
I think that was more of a Vince thing.
I think that was Vince. Yeah.
I believe what ended up happening in that situation is probably the same thing that would end up happening here. Is because of the fact that you're introducing a Raw star to NXT, then you're talking about introducing the Raw writing team into NXT and having them start to kind of sort of mess stuff up down there, unless
I think
you get a situation where Triple H is just like, no, foot down, we're running this.
Mm-hmm. Because y'all not
Because
doing
of the fact that it's Miz and it's not Charlotte.
I think it comes down to all that, but also comes down more to like with Vince and his ego and pride, where WWE has to be better than everybody else. That's why I said before, AEW having this open door with everybody is great, but if they're going to try with WWE, is not going to work because
No, it's not.
because if we look at what happened with WCW, if he had wrote that invasion angle correctly, then WWE would not have crushed out all the WCW stars or wrestlers that they had at that moment. He had a chance to make that invasion angle longer than it was.
Well,
but he chose
for what
not
it's worth, and I'm not going to sit up here and defend the invasion, but from what he ended up having to deal with in that situation, because unfortunately, a lot of people that were with WCW at that time weren't signed by WCW. They were signed by AOL Time Warner, and they were just going to be like, whatever, I'm not going to go in there. And like, you're giving me an option to work for my my money, or just sit back and relax and collect my money. And you're talking about a bunch of old vets at that time. Your Sting wasn't coming over anyway, but you're talking your Ric Flairs, who didn't show up until the end of the invasion or after the last pay-per-view, the Survivor Series. You're talking about Booker T being your biggest star on that side because of all of the other people. Scott Steiner didn't come over. Nash and Hall didn't come over until the NWO storyline came up. Hogan was there. He didn't come over. Same thing. Like, there was so much that was going on in that situation, and he, like I said, in that particular one, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he had to do what he had to do in that situation. It still could have been better, but he was fighting against an odds that I'm not giving anybody the advantage in that one, because you're talking about people talking like older wrestlers, not these young hungry guys. You're talking about these older wrestlers who have the option to just sit back and collect money. Your older vets are always going to do that.
Yeah, because those guys had the big contracts that allowed them to do that.
AOL was just paying money like regardless. They didn't care.
Yeah. The other thing that screwed them up was Sean Stasiak. Was it Sean Stasiak? Or was it somebody else? I remember somebody going to the radio station the day before the pay-per-view and saying, yeah, we're going to be here. We have an angle. We're going to invade and all that stuff. It kind of threw the whole storyline out the window because they pretty much leaked it out.
Yeah, that, and the other thing was when they originally started the whole thing up with the Buff Bagwell match, which was set up for failure right from the start. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, but like I was saying, it's like Vince always never wants his wrestlers or his company to look bad. So to think that the main roster is going to lose to NXT is, even though NXT is considered a third brand, is, you can't even think about it. It's not going to happen. It would never happen. Vince would not let any of the main roster guys lose to an NXT talent at all, because
at least not your headliners.
Yeah,
because when NXT was starting up, they had people like Natalya going back there for like the women's title tournament when Paige originally won the championship. Everything, like, I know she went back there at that point and everything like that. Like, but they're not going to sit up there and have like their super main eventers actually sitting up there losing matches to.
If they do, it'll be to get ratings. But again, like you said, they're not going to lose though.
Nah, like honestly, when they did the Survivor Series and Keith Lee got a pin on Seth Rollins, I was shocked.
You know what? I shocked me more actually though is that actually NXT won that whole Survivor Series on accounts. If you count them, like, they won it. I'm like, damn. Like, I was still shocked. Like, how the hell did that happen? How did Trips pull that one off? You know,
they had to do something. They were going to sit up there and try and quote unquote compete against AEW Dynamite on Wednesday. Although we all know what the real situation is with that. It's just there on the same night to take viewers away rather than actually officially compete.
Yep. Well, everybody, it's been a great first show of the Heel Heat, the new name of the show. We're loving it. Thank you for joining us on this first one. Don't forget, what's the word? Like and subscribe. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, the Sports Marks Analyst. We are there, the Heel Heat. You look at YouTube, you'll see our previous videos with the 3 count. That's our previous name, but we are now going by the Heel Heat. And stay tuned as we will be announcing a elimination bracket, March Madness style for wrestling with a lot of incoming different styles. We're talking about like managers, valets, and so forth like that. That'll be coming forth soon. The promo will be coming up short. Stay tuned to the Facebook page. Thank you everybody for joining us. Guys, any last words?
Nope.
I really hope this doesn't suck. Like that's really where I'm at.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget, subscribe later.
Word.